What's up guys, JS2Cents here, wearing new JS2Cents merch. Anyway, I'm bringing you a vlog update for the 67 for the car channel because it's been a while since I've updated you guys, and that's because things have changed dramatically. So I'm at Red Barn Racing right now, literally just to film this. There's something we're actually gonna work on today, but I'm gonna talk to you guys about what we've got going on. And we'll start by looking at the shelf of parts. If you guys recall, we'll go stand by the engine. We'll give you guys something nice to look at. Remember the LS, if you guys haven't seen when we, two-part series where we built my all custom high-end Frankenstein head GM Performance LS7, blah, blah, blah. We built it from scratch from parts we picked. Let's talk about what's changed. So remember I showed you guys I was disassembling the front end so that we could pull off the subframe and get it powder coated because I was like, that subframe is ugly. And then as what typically happens is you go, well, the subframe's gonna look nice, but the rest of the car has a lot of problems. So then you start digging deeper and then you go, you know what? We might as well just go ahead and just tear it all apart. So what we are in the process of doing now is a complete disassembly of every nut and bolt in the car. We've ordered a rotisserie. We're gonna do a full rotisserie body off restoration. I cannot talk. We're gonna do a complete body off restoration on a rotisserie, and we gotta get prepared for media blasting. So I figured what I'd do today is I'll just kind of show you guys where it's at, what we found under the dash, because the problem with cars like this, and I think I talked about this in the last video where I gave you guys this like advice of things to consider when owning a classic that I learned obviously through this one. And that is the fact that you never know what you're gonna find when it comes to other people's work or restorations, because of the fact that there is always gonna be hidden gems. So let's go ahead and show you guys what we got. So lots of projects going on right now. Here is where we left off. You guys remember this. Front clip came off as a whole. Red Barn Racing has actually started disassembling the front clip. You can see we got parts laid out here, bolts laid out. This is all the serpentine that came off the old engine, which by the way, we finally have a buyer for. So this ZZ6 350 is gonna be making its way in another old car. And you can see he started taking this apart because these parts all have to be media blasted. We're pretty convinced this yellow, look how thick this paint is, my God. Look how thick that is. So thick. That's what she said. We're convinced that this yellow, because it's in places that you would not get with a normal paint job, because this is overlapping metal right here, right? So we're pretty convinced that this has been restored at some point from the red that you see here on the firewall and the body to yellow. And then whoever painted the black over the top of the yellow just did a absolutely terrible job. So the stuff like this that we were finding as we were disassembling the front end to prepare the subframe for powder coating is why we decided to go ahead and just do it all right the first time instead of having to go through all this again to get it blasted and all done up. So I know Matt was like, you're gonna do it. You're gonna do a full resto. His videos didn't help. The more I watched his go from like the ball of weirdness that happened with the rust and stuff to where it is today, made me go, okay, fine. The rust is still there. So yeah. What? Lethal cheapskate. But you're working on his car right now. You can't be that cheap. Yeah. Hey, he built my car too. So here's this is the front nose right here. This part, we know some of these got refitted in a fender bender at some point, but the frame is straight. We ordered a new radiator support because we're not sure. It did not look right on the frame. So if you remember, when we took it off, it was shoved back, and you can even see the outline of the hole right here. The mount was all like crooked because it took a small hit over here, so the frame looks straight. Of course, it can all be inspected, but we are just like, we don't know if this was re-straightened or anything, so we replaced it. It's cheap enough. But the nice thing about going this route is I was basically gonna have all this sheet metal replaced. New fenders, new clip, new nose, new lower chin. We got new inner fenders. But the restoration guys that were like, hey, why do you want to get rid of this metal? I was like, well, because wouldn't newer metal be nicer to work with? And they were like, hell no. So they basically were like, this is original metal, and you're not going to get any new metal that's going to fit as close as this does off. I don't know. They're probably making fun of me over there.
On the ground, jacking up the car, right?
I don't know what they're saying, but they're saying something about me. They were like, they're not going to find any metal that fits as good as this aftermarket. And I'm sure anyone out there that's done any sort of restoration and gotten new sheet metal was like, is probably agreeing with me right now. The only sheet metal that we're planning on replacing, because remember, we don't know what's under that paint. We know there are some patches. We can see some of the patches on the front fenders. It was this front fender here that was patched. Not a big patch, but you can see it right there. This is a welded in patch. You can see some of the leftover welding rod right there. So there was a patch there, but we can kind of see on the inside, it's not too bad. But if you remember the trunk I showed pictures of, water had collected in the trunk and then rusted through there. So the trunk metal we are going to replace. I ordered a new trunk pan that they'll weld in and get fitted. The other thing I'm doing, which I think Mike said I would end up doing, which he was like, you don't need to, but if you're gonna, whatever. I'm doing 4-link in the rear and a mini tub. The two things he was like, keep it old school, go leaf spring and just roll the fenders. Well, I ended up getting influenced by Matt's build. Although Matt's not on a 4-link, so I'll give him that. But yeah, I ended up going with a 4-link for the rear. That way I can fit like a 305 tire. I don't want to go too crazy big in the front because I'm not doing any mods to the front to fit a bigger tire. So yeah, I'm resto modding it for sure. I mean, we took the old school out of it by going with the Holley EFI stuff and the LS7s. So at that point, I'm like, well, let's keep it old school looking on the outside, but let's go with more of a modern muscle car. So like I said, 305s in the rear. Not a super low profile tire though. I'm gonna keep some sidewall on there so it looks good. I'm gonna run a full-time drag radial in the back and then like 245s in the front. Let's talk about the interior because it's really dark and I'm sorry you guys aren't gonna really be able to see in there. All right, so you can see here, I've already disassembled everything from behind the dash. I took out the vintage air. You can see all the way through to the shop floor. Everything behind the dash over there. You can see the original color of the car was red because I really was confused, but there's no doubt this body was red based on the way it's painted there. We need to finish taking out the rest of the interior. Obviously, we're gonna repaint the interior, new headliner and all that. This box right here, underneath all of the vent tubes, is a huge box of wire. All of this was behind that dash. So that's where I said, when you buy an old car like that, that's been, who knows, traded hands, who knows how many times, it's had who knows what shops working on it and people undoing other people's work and working on top of other people's work, you get that kind of crap. And then what happens is you just got to rip it all out and start all over. So that's one of the reasons why we ended up going with the Holley EFI. In fact, I'll show you one of the things that we're going to be doing, which I'm really excited for. And I was really torn on this. And this is why I'm extremely grateful for the sponsorship that Holley provided for having basically access to the catalog to throw whatever we want into this 67. So let me try and get this down here. All of this top row, by the way, with the exception of the B&M shifter, this is all Holley stuff because obviously Holley EFI, we need to be able to connect everything to the LS7 with electronic fuel injection and make it all fit and work. But then came the dash, right? I was like, what do we do about the dash? Do I want to run 2 sensors for everything? Do I want to have an old school like odometer type gauges or what? Well, you guys know that we had the Pro computer or the Pro screen that they sent. I actually am sending that back, and we ended up going back with the older 7-inch digital because of the fact that, I think it's 7.5 inch. This will connect to our Dominator computer, just with a link cable, with one cable. It will give us complete control to customize this dash for whatever we want. And then Holley also has these bezels here, which I'm sure you guys already know where I'm going with this, will allow me to pull this out of the bag, which will then allow that dash to mount right in there. So it's gonna be an old school car with a digital dash that I can customize the layout on. It's literally gonna be just like that video I made on the tech channel about the sensor panel, how you can move it around and make all the custom gauges and stuff how you want. I can do that with this. So it allows me to take my modern computer type of desires and literally work it into my old school car. And then we won't have to run double the harnesses to all the sensors, fuel pickup, fuel sender, all that sort of stuff, because it will all just go to the Dominator with that harness. And then that one cable over to the dash here will allow us to see everything. And on the fly logging and all that stuff without having to have extra wires and stuff go everywhere. So I'm super, super excited about that. So not only did I do the RideTech 4-link and coilover for the rear, we're converting the front to the QA1 handling package front end. So you know QA1 makes a lot of drag stuff, but they also have a handling set. So this is their upper, their lower, their, right here, their sway bar, all the end links, the connecting links for steering, everything is here, their coilovers and such. But if you might recall, one of the reasons why I said that I ended up getting all the QA1 stuff is because Hotchkiss has been nothing but one broken promise after another. Do you remember back in June, I ordered some shocks for the front and I showed you how the trunnions were wrong and they didn't mount up? And then Hotchkiss reached out to me and said they'd make it right, even after I started a support ticket. What month is this? We're almost in December, right? I still don't have, Hotchkiss has still not replaced those shocks for me. After they even promised that they would send it all the way to John Hotchkiss himself to handle, fucking liars. Not one time did they reach back out. So that's why Hotchkiss is coming off my car. I will not run any of their stuff, not because their products are bad, but because their support is bad. So QA1 and RideTech got my money moving forward, which, let's face it, it's a better product anyway. So anyway, Matt's here. Like I said, this is like vlogceptions.
It's so dark in here, so I brought extra lights for my GoPro setup.
Look at this thing.
Dude, this thing is...
Is that thing California legal? Look at all those attachments.
It works.
Look at your face. It gets some good lighting.
So anyway, Matt's here working on his car. You guys can follow his channel, head over there to see why they're working on his car.
It was a sad day.
Car stuff happens to car people who car hard. That's all I'm gonna say.
The worst part is I didn't even get to do it. I watched it happen, and it was very sad.
You're giving away the suspense, man. Go watch Matt's channel to find out what happened.
Flames.
It did shoot flames, and in a good way. Not out the block.
Motor's fine.
The motor is fine. Yes, we'll just put that out there. Yeah, we're gonna go and wrap this up. It's been a long time since I've updated this channel, and people were like, "What's going on with the Classic?" And I'm like, the Classic needs enough attention to where the timing has to be right before it really starts getting worked on. But I'm really excited to get the bodywork right. Now I have that dilemma of choosing a color, and that is not easy because, and I'm not gonna show Mike's car up close, but I love the color that he has. I love the color Matt has, but I'm torn on this whole like
Mix them together.
I'm not gonna lie, I've considered doing Matt or Mike's color with your color stripe.
He's wheezing down here.
Everyone's laughing because right when I said that, the jack started making a sound that everyone thought was Mike wheezing at my idea. So, which he probably did do anyway. Anyway, so yeah, when the car goes off to the body guys, I'll do some periodic updates, obviously, when we get on the rotisserie. We still have a lot more teardown to do, all the body trim, all the windows. Got to take the rear end out, the leaf spring. Remember all the time? I hit my head with a mallet for those leaf springs, and now we're getting rid of them.
I was there.
Yeah, Matt was there.
Ow, the finger. Oh, come on, you had to have known that was gonna happen.
I see colors now.
Man, I had a mark on my nose for like 2 months. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this one. I would ask you guys what color you think I should paint it, but I know I'm gonna get some really dumb responses just for the sake of response, but it's a dilemma. I know I'm not going black, but because they say you never go back when you do that or something like that, or you walk funny for a day or whatever, I don't know.